We're back, first day in the shed for 2021. Well, actually the second day for me. We've got a pretty busy day and I go back to work in a couple of days, so I want to try and get a lot done because this is starting to annoy me. So today is the rear bar. Pretty much going to be similar to the other one. I might make a few small changes, but yeah, rear bar, 2 swing aways, so I'm going to do like a jerry can on the left and the spare wheel on the right. The spare wheel carrier is going to be joined to the back door, but I'll show you how we're going to do that when we get to it. And yeah, that's pretty much what's on the go. I did actually, where are we? I did pull the heater box out. Oh, not the heater box, the aircon evaporator. So Justin came around before Christmas and my aircon wasn't working that good, so I got him to gas it up and yeah, found a leak in the aircon evaporator, which is over here. If you're going to pull one of these out, it takes like 15 minutes. It's really easy. So yeah, that's just sitting there. I actually found this fitting was loose for some reason, whether the O-ring's been crushed and whatever and then caused the fitting to come loose. I don't know why that would be loose, but anyway, I found a leak there because the core looks all right. So Justin's going to come around at some stage with a few new O-rings and we're going to bang some new O-rings in it, and then I'll put it back in the car and gas it up. That's sweet, but I don't need to film that. But yeah, it's a good chance to clean out the core, reseal the bits of foam between the fan box and the vents and everything. So either side, the foam strip. So a good chance to reseal that because one side was actually gone. So once that's all sealed up, obviously everything will work better. And a good chance to clean out your fan box, which was back in the car here somewhere. Here. So that's your fan box. Again, that's easy to pull out. Bloody 3 bolts it pulls out. They always end up with leaves and crap in there. So yeah, I thought it was a little bit harder to pull out, but it's like not even 5 minute job to pull that out. But anyway, we'll get stuck into the rear bar. I have been still tinkering away at the front bar. So just cap the ends, put some braces here. I just got to fill in this still, which I'm going to do today. Cap the end of my winch hook thing there. So I gave it a bit of a clean up. So that is not really that much left to do on the front bar. A few bits of tube in there, finish cleaning it up, and then the front bar's done. The sliders, obviously I need to plate them in, I keep saying that, but McGill's not back at work for another week, I think. So I just want to measure everything up, and then when you get back to work, bombard him with some stuff to cut out, and hopefully he's not too busy to do that. So anyway, we'll get stuck into the rear bar. I got a little bit sidetracked, but the front bar's done. Well, other than a fair lead. Hope McGill will make me one of them and then weld in a stainless fair lead. But yeah, chuck these in the bottom. Look pretty cool, protect the bottom. Yeah, no big rocks or anything get up into the winch. And yeah, it's all welded out and I've just given it a quick clean up. Needs a little bit more. And yeah, obviously the fair lead, bit of a sand and some paint. So that's pretty satisfying that that's finished, nearly 98% finished. So other than yeah, the fair lead, which I'm not going to get for whenever, a couple of weeks probably. Yeah, we'll start on the rear bar. So I've bolted the plates on. These are just mounts. They pick up the factory mounts, and then they house 2 bits of tube, one on the top, one on the bottom, and they have a toe point. So pretty strong. Like again, you'll be able to toe off that, and you'll rip the chassis out before it does anything to the toe points. So same as the front bar, I've got the cutting discs behind there either side to space it out, so it's easy to pull on and off. And yeah, slightly different design I'm going for compared to my last one, but we'll make a start. Right, so I have a spare 90, just floats around. It's got the bend marked. So what I'm gonna do is, obviously I'll slide that through to minimize waste. But all I've got to do is just line that up where I want it to sit. Wherever that may be, somewhere there. And then transfer that mark onto the bit of tube. And then bend it. And then it's the same principle. Once that end's done, then I can come to this end and set that end in the right spot, and then just bend again. Or I can just get a measurement from this plate out to the bend, and then just do the same, this plate out to the bend. So a couple different ways. But I'm gonna tack a little bit extra on that, because what I'm actually gonna do is, this bit's for the bottom. So this bit's gonna go underneath here, and I'm gonna put a bend from here up, like maybe 10 degrees or something, whatever that may be. And then yeah, I'm gonna do something different up here. I'm gonna run this top bit along, and then bend it into the bottom bit, either side, and then just have a centerpiece. So just makes it look a little bit better. Looks like you've put a little bit more effort in. So I'm gonna go with that. So the reason that I bent up the two ends, the 90s first, obviously, yeah, like I said, it's going on the bottom. So the reason why I bent the 90s before I bent this section here is because it's far easier to set up in the bender, because this bend's only 10 degrees. If you bent the 10 degrees first and left the 90 till later, it's really hard to get the bends on the 90-degree plane, because obviously this bend's going that way, the next bend's going to go that way, so they're 90 degrees to each other. And because 10 degrees is such a small bend over such a big piece of pipe, it's hard to line up that 90-degree plane, because the tube's pretty much straight. So I bend the 90s first, make sure they're on the same plane, which is pretty easy. You sit it on the flat surface and you can see if it's rocking. And now it's easy to do these 10 degrees, because I can just put a angle gauge there and get it 90 degrees to the die. So it's easy that way, but obviously I have to calculate in the distance lost overall from the 10-degree bend, because obviously it's coming up and it's going to drag the ends in, but because it's only 10 degrees, it's next to nothing. Might be like 3 mil. So yeah, that's why I'm doing it that way. All right, so I've knocked up the base of the rear bar. It's pretty good. It come up exactly how I wanted it. You can see that. I wanted it sort of like the front bar, where the two outsides and then the middle one. So yeah, it's all pretty much done. Obviously there's still a lot to do. Spare wheel on this side, and then jerry can holder on this side. So I'll make that up tomorrow. And then underneath, from here somewhere, across to the chassis, some braces to stop the wings denting in. If you hit a bank or whatever, stop some caving in. So there's obviously still a fair bit to do, but I should be able to get the spare wheel carrying that done tomorrow. And then again, I've got to measure up some plate, because obviously I'll plate all this in on the top, and then yeah, tail lights here. I'm going to make it sink in there and pick up these two bolts just for a bit of extra strength. So obviously, yeah, plate all that in, tail lights, trailer plug or whatever there, plate it in on top, and yeah, obviously spare wheel stub either side, jerry can, and then I might even plate that little section in there. I'm not too sure yet. But yeah, that's about it for the day. I'll check back in tomorrow. I'm back at it, just working out where to put the swingaways. So make sure that it doesn't hit the door. So pretty much what I'm going to do is just hole saw through the complete top tube, and then butt it into the bottom tube so you can get a nice weld around the top, the bottom, and then in here. And like I said, I think I'll plate that in just to strengthen that up, because I know last time you put the stub in, then you build the carrier, and then the whole thing flexes, but it flexes the two bits of tube. So I'll try and strengthen that up. And also attaching it to the back door helps with the spare wheel movement, but I'll show you how I'm going to do that when the time comes. So we'll get cracking. I want to get this done. I just like bloody everything. I just want to get it done. It's hard looking outside, if you can see. It's been raining and it's hard to look out there because it's pristine driving weather and I'm stuck in the shed. So it's probably not a good summer to pick to work on the car. Like I said at the start, we don't do much driving in summer because it's always so dry, but this summer's been awesome. So yeah, I really want to get this done because the weather is still pristine even though it's the start of January. So anyway, we'll keep moving. So I managed to get one side stub in, and it's a little bit tricky. I only had a 38mm hole saw and the stub's 40mm. So I had to use a bloody die grinder here to grind her out. But one thing to make sure is that it's square to the bar, but it's also plumb this way. I'm going to cut the bottom bit of box section that I'm going to use and like sort of tack it on, and then just make sure when it swings out to here that it's still level. So I did run into dramas on my last bar where it swung out and it swung down as well, which was annoying, but I'll try and rectify all that in this bar. So I'm just setting up the swing, and you can see it's pretty much level. You got to also take into account that the car might not be level, so I'm sort of just basing it off that bottom tube on the rear bar. But you can swing it out and it changes about 1.5 degrees going 180, so it's not 100% level, but 1.5 degrees is nothing. If you, like, I opened the back door and swung it out and marked it, and it pretty much follows the door swing. There's no change in height. So yeah, pretty happy with that. I'll weld it up and move on to the spare wheel. So, of course, it's getting set up for the big boy wheels, because I'm sure one day I'll decide to put 37s on it for a trip or a drive or something like that. So, yeah, just trying to tee it up so I can fit the 37 on there, and then I know that, yeah, if I need a spare 37, I can fit it on there, because the last rebar I made, I actually had to modify because I always said I won't be putting 37s on this car. And then sure enough, I put 37s on it, and then I couldn't fit one on my rebar, so I had to cut it up and change it. So I'm doing it right from the start this time. Quick look at where we're at. Yeah, it's mounted up there. Now this is a cool little addition here. We'll swing around and mount the shovel. So that bloody shovel has been in my car for years and it drives me insane. So there's one thing I wanted to do is mount the shovel on the spare wheel. So I'll just yeah, bit of rubber on the bottom, and I'll drill and tap some bolts in there with wing nuts or whatever, and yeah, stop it rattling. But shovel is outside the car, so swing's good. Obviously it's not welded up, and I've still got I'm gonna brace here and down here just to brace it up, and then I'll be in here too just to brace it all up. Obviously cap that off, and yeah, obviously I've got to still mount it to the back door. So I had to make that to this stage so then I could get some measurements and get what I need to join it to the back door. And also I need to go to the trailer joint or somewhere, and I need to get a couple latches and some locking pins to go on here, and I'll make something up to lock it out in position, both of them. So I'll still got to do that. I'm going to put some sort of wings on the side like I had on my last bar, just bring them up under the fuel cap height. And I've still got to join the rear bar under the chassis there, but done a bit of brainstorming and come up with, hopefully it's a good idea. So I've got to do that too. But this rounds out the video today. I've obviously still got a lot to do here, but I need to do some measuring and I need to go buy some stuff, and I'll go back to work. So it's going to be pretty busy next couple of days before I can come back and tackle the rest of this. But you know, maybe on the weekend I'll get to it. So yeah, if you did enjoy the video, drop a like and a comment, whatever. And if you are a new viewer, make sure you subscribe. And I'll keep posting videos working on this bloody junk box, and hopefully it's done sooner rather than later, because this weather is really teasing us for a drive. So we'll catch us on the next one.